I want us to talk about leadership today. Well, first of all, what does being a leader mean to you?
Being a leader, I believe, is being or influencing others positively.
In order to lead others, I'm a firm believer that the very first thing that we all need to start with is self-leadership. But leadership is much more about influence. And because the people that are actually influential are the people that actually live what's on the vision board. And influence actually starts with, can I influence myself?
Get ready for the next iteration of you on your path to becoming wealthy. On this show, you'll get the insider's view on wealth creation, the class none of us got taught in school, with my co-host, daughter, and beginning investor, Sophia Bosch. And now, let's get started.
Welcome to Becoming Wealthy. I'm your host, Michelle, and I have my daughter here, my co-host.
Sophia Bosch.
Sophia, today I am excited because it's been a little bit since we've been recording episodes. You know, I know that sometimes we record in batches, and
Yes.
I'm excited that we are back together. And I have a topic that I wanted, that I chose. And it's basically, I want us to talk about leadership today and about how, in order to lead others, well, first of all, what does being a leader mean to you?
Being a leader, I believe, is being or influencing others positively.
Absolutely. That is definitely
Being able to influence other people's behavior, actions, in the pursuit of something bigger than yourself or something positive in somewhere in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly it. And I always think of as a leader, you're here to serve in some way, shape, or form, maybe a vision, like you were saying right now, something bigger, create an impact. But in order to lead others, I'm a firm believer that the very first thing that we all need to start with is self-leadership. So I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about that and ask you just a few questions on, how that has been going in your life, because I know you have quite a bit of things going on. So tell me a little bit about LLS and what you are doing there in terms of being a leader and helping others, but also what are you doing, um, you personally, in order to be able to support them?
So first of all, I'm still fundraising for them a little bit
Okay.
to support the campaign, support the student leaders that are currently running campaigns just as I did last year.
Okay.
Um,
So you're more kind of like as an advisor.
Yeah, I'm now there. Basically, I sit on the student ambassador board,
Uh-huh.
the leadership board there, and I basically help out with any events. But most importantly, my job during the campaign season, which is January through early March.
So the campaign already kicked
Yeah,
off
it's
in full bloom,
yeah.
full swing, I should say.
Yep. We are almost a month into it now. Um, and one of the most important tasks of a student ambassador is mentoring and leading one of the groups. So basically giving them advice, checking in on them, giving them helpful resources, introducing them to maybe some people that could donate or sponsor or
Mm-hmm.
give them some sort of support.
Yeah.
Um, what else?
So
I'm just there for any questions.
So in that role, what are some things that you have actually helped them with right now, or how does that look like when you say, check in on them? Is that something that you're basically doing on a weekly basis? How does
I
it
do
look
it
like?
on a weekly basis. It also depends when they reach out to me throughout the week. Typically, I go on a weekly basis. Since it only started, I believe,
2 weeks ago.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
We're almost completing our third week. I've reached out to them twice. The first one was just like, "Hey, I'm Sophia." Like they are the two candidates that are currently running the team. I know one really well, and then the other one, I do know her as well, so we're comfortable with each other. It's not much of a introducing myself
Okay.
situation.
Yeah.
Um, I just kind of jumped in. I asked them, has all your team members kicked off from zero?
Mm-hmm.
$0 raised.
Mm-hmm.
There, I just checked in with them today. There's still a couple people straggling.
Mm-hmm.
But my advice to them is schedule a call to them. I just texted them actually.
Mm-hmm.
Last period today at school.
I was gonna ask you, when are you doing that? Because
I had a free period, so I texted them. I was like, set a meeting with them. I could also try and set a meeting with them, or sit down with them if they go to your school. Track them down during lunch. Sit with them. That's what I did during my campaign. I was like, okay, get your laptop out. Let's text some people. So it's just actively doing little things, and then I send them every so often, like, here's a template, or you should maybe look into contacting these people. Like, I'll send them little things just to help them.
do you have like a standing reminder for yourself, to like on
Thursday.
every Thursday where you do it? But today's Tuesday and you just happen to have a free period and you
Yeah.
thought, okay, let me proactively check in before even. Okay, wonderful. Now, as far as
Was there to. They also asked me a question. That's what prompted today.
okay, wonderful.
Not, I would have.
Waited, but
Yeah.
you basically, that's what you do for yourself in order to not be having um deadlines of tests, of papers,
Yeah.
of homework, of SAT tutoring, of application deadlines for summer programs, all flying in your brain. You basically, for yourself, you schedule, you have a standing appointment, I guess, on your calendar to check in with, all your peeps from LLS, make sure that they have, and then you just proactively during the week, if they do reach out, respond to them when you have a moment of time. Okay, awesome. Okay, so that's one way to basically exercise a little bit of self-leadership, is basically to prioritize certain things, and then others batch them up on specific days
Yeah.
of the week where you're going to do all things LLS, and you actually have a specific period of time to do that. And
We even do that with the podcast.
yeah, absolutely. We even do that with the podcast. That's our,
Yeah.
You say our,
And I batch other things onto Tuesdays too, because I might as well.
yeah, it makes complete sense.
Like piano and stuff like that.
Now, leadership from the point of view, I want to talk about something, a completely different aspect of leadership now, and that is, wait, before we go into that,
Okay.
where can people go to donate if they wanted to donate and support LLS, which is the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society?
They can go to.
Your page?
Yes.
Do you know it? Okay, we'll probably put it in the show notes, but
Yeah.
but if you do send anything to LLS, if they send a check, for example, it should be with your name, Sophia Bosch, so that they know it pertains, to your efforts, I guess, for the organization. Okay, awesome. So the next thing that I had in mind, and that is, so we are right now at the time of the recording, about a week and one day from having had, inauguration happen, and we having a new president here in the country that is acting very swiftly, vigorously on the promises that he had made the American people during the campaign. And in about 77 million Americans voted, for him, but there's about 75 million that did not vote for him, that, are on the opposite side of the spectrum, politically, ideologically, et cetera, culturally. And so I wanted to ask you, how has the climate been in school, and how have you been navigating and basically showing leadership in perhaps difficult conversations or circumstances? Maybe tell me a little bit about what's going on in school.
So I know in school, sir, I know teachers ideally should just teach you, or they should teach you both perspectives. But with certain teachers, like history teachers or things like that, they tend to also add in their own narrative, add in their own opinions. So I do know you can tell when a teacher leans one way or another. You can also tell when students lean one way or another. I know that some of my peers in class are not happy.
They're actually probably very distressed. Yeah.
Many of them are not happy, and when he originally won the election, they were distressed. They also, some of them still don't understand why he won, which is interesting in a way. There is almost a sense of like a loss of pride in the country.
Whereas 77 million Americans think that, my goodness, they're so proud that now America is.
I at least feel it in certain.
So you have both.
Yeah,
I guess.
but I'd say, which is surprising to me. Well, actually, not as surprising now that I'm I understand. More people lean toward, or a lot more people lean towards actually being happy about how the election turned out.
They're more vocal, maybe more open.
I don't know if they're more vocal, but or they show themselves more.
They're more open about about it.
Yeah.
Now, in those circumstances, when you
In the circumstances
of the
for
teachers,
example,
what do you do?
teachers, and I actually, outside of school, I went to a birthday party, and somehow we got into a conversation, and the people that I got into the conversation with were very much distressed about losing, or Kamala losing the election. They, when talking, I had to almost hold myself back from saying a couple things.
Okay. So basically, you're showing some empathy and some kindness.
Of course, I can understand both parts. My opinion does not. In many things, it does align with them, and also many things it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I will say I did express myself a little bit, but I did hold back on some of the things just to maintain a good friendship with the person, because I love the person, the people, because they're amazing people, and you can still be friends if you have different political views, but
And sometimes
what I just had to hold back.
what I have found sometimes as a leader, Sophia, is that sometimes even if we have opposing political views, the values that we both share are the same. We just go about, carrying out those values or seeing them through in completely different ways. But we have to find middle ground in the value.
That's why I kind of approach all the situations in school with my teachers, with my friends. I kind of approach it like, I hear you, I understand this, I do agree with you, but, and then I take it a different way, and they're like, oh, okay, I can see that. But I still don't agree with it, but at least they can see that perspective now.
Okay.
And that is enough for me.
Okay, it's plenty. Yeah, it's plenty, at least to open the door, to open the window to understanding and possibly, being able to continue to collaborate in the future, because that is something that you're going to have and you're going to experience actually in the entrepreneurial world, is that you're going to have people that are going to be working with you or for you, and they're going to be of completely different spectrums politically, and you're going to have to still be able to work with them and find common ground basically on values, and
right, that's
and be
exactly
respectful of
that
different people's opinions and
that's exactly
perspective.
what I did. I mean, I could give you an example.
Yeah.
A lot of people, their main distress point is like, why would it, I keep hearing over and over, is like criminal versus woman. Which one would you rather have in office? And I'm like, okay, there's many things about either candidate that there are many things to dislike for each candidate. There are also many things to like for each candidate. And then I'm just not gonna say anything. Trump is in office and they're like, oh, what are we having a criminal there for? I'm like, so what? He's a criminal. If he's a bad person, I don't care. But he's been through a lot more. Like, just outside perspective, he's been through a lot more. He's gone through 2 assassination attempts, multiple lawsuits trying to attack him, bring him down. If you were that person, you would have already collapsed. Like,
Yeah.
let's be so for real. Like, I'm not trying to stand up for him, but I want to just like propose that
Perhaps he's been convicted because maybe, the
sure he
legal
might have
system,
done
the legal,
those
but,
things.
we don't know. The legal system has also, been weaponized to attack,
Yeah.
somebody with an opposing political view.
Yeah. So, but
So you have to take that with a grain of salt, is
grain
what you're
of
saying.
salt,
Yeah.
exactly. And plus, I also touched upon when I brought that up, like, I don't care if it's a criminal, I don't care if it's whatever. Like, the fact that you wanted someone to die is so inhuman. Like, the fact that
Is that not criminal then to want somebody to die?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I understand. I know what you mean when you say I don't care if it was a criminal, but what
Or
you're
like
trying to say,
I do care, but it's like he's
how can we know that he is in fact been done what he's being accused of when the legal system has been used against him to bring him and to show him and portray him to the American public in such a way, and we don't know if in fact um, whatever he's being accused actually happened. And if so, what were the circumstances? And then you have on the other side, for example, the day of the inauguration, preemptive pardons that happened, from the prior administration, which
that were so close to the time of the inauguration that it didn't leave time for any opposition to like
or to comment on them, and
which
or
is all very
but also implies maybe a level of guilt, and therefore the need for a pardon to be preemptive, and so on and so forth,
and
because perhaps they would be brought to justice for
yeah.
what would be considered also possibly even criminal.
Yeah. So it's like, what do you
Yeah, so yeah, it's a very sticky, difficult situation, but I think you just bringing that point of view forward is
like,
important.
Plus, I also wanted to tap on like my set of beliefs. Even if you're the worst person in the world, I would never wish death upon you. Like,
Okay, that's basically what you were trying to get across. Yeah.
I would never wish death upon
Another human.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes complete sense.
just not right.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm glad
And that's where other people, they're like, okay, I agree with you. I agree. I'm like, God.
there's a little, at least an opening for a possibility to
They're
further.
like, I see your point, and I also agree that you should never wish death upon someone, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then it was good. Conversation ended. We both saw each other's points.
And are you with those people still continuing to be friends and everything? Like nothing, no
Wait,
animosity
nothing
after?
no.
Oh, that's wonderful, Sophia. I love that. I love that, such a conversation is possible. I'm a firm believer that sometimes
They can go wrong.
yeah, it can go wrong, but in friendships, I think sometimes us bringing so sometimes the basis of friendships is that we like the same things, that we vibe, that we agree on on a lot of things. But sometimes also friendships can be strengthened by what each one brings to the table, and sometimes what each one brings to the table could be a completely different perspective, and you both get to learn much more. So I like that you are, bringing that to the table.
I'm sure they could see what my opinion was.
Yeah.
But they also saw that I agreed with them. They
Mhm.
saw that I was open to hearing them out.
Mhm.
I saw that
Now, is there anything that caused you, for example, any mental distress when you, for example, hear someone referring to someone that you believe is going to do a good job as a criminal? Does that cause you any mental distress? Anything that you've done to basically either, I don't know, either block that or anything, like personally, not with the person, but you personally, like in your head, what are you thinking when somebody's saying?
I'm usually thinking, well, if it gets to a situation where I'm included in the conversation, I'll have one of those conversations.
Uh-huh.
If it doesn't and I just hear it, I think to myself, oh, I just hope they could see the effect of the actions and the positive effects of the actions that are going to be taken that
Uh-huh.
you are right now against.
Mm-hmm.
I like let's have
Let
them see
had
it through.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, tell.
let's have it see it through, and then you decide when it's actually in full effect.
Yeah. Okay. But for you,
That's just what
but
I'm
so
saying.
that's basically how
That's
you
my
process it.
justification to
Okay.
myself.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, but it doesn't like weigh you down, or it doesn't like affect you, in any way, shape, or form. You just
I don't think so. I don't think it has yet.
okay. Okay.
Just because I also didn't vote in this election,
Uh-huh.
I think if I would have voted, maybe it would affect me a little bit more.
Okay.
But since I'm still not of the voting age
Okay.
or
You're still
ability, I feel a little bit,
on the outside.
yeah,
Okay. Got it.
still.
Makes complete sense. Yeah, there's a little bit of more detachment because you couldn't have specifically a say anyways this time around. Okay, I love how you're prioritizing basically and distancing, creating a little bit of distance with the topic and with the emotional charge that such topics could or conversations could bring, by saying, hey, I didn't have a chance to vote this time, this is but I see things differently. And so for yourself, you're caring for your individual and for your mental sanity by creating a little bit of distance, and at least for now. And when it's your time to actually have the opportunity to vote, I'm looking forward to seeing how you handle it then. But I think as of for right now, I'm impressed, Sophia. That's like, it makes me.
I'm impressed by my friends too. Like just generally,
Yeah.
because I know I'm stubborn. I know myself. When people oppose my opinion, I try my very, very best
Uh-huh.
to be open-minded, but sometimes it just doesn't work.
You mean you
Like,
try to keep your mouth shut, but then sometimes it'll show up in your face?
yeah, facts. It's really bad. So when I understand that when I'm doing this to someone else, it can be very hard. So
Yeah.
I'm just very grateful to have very open-minded
Okay.
friends too.
Awesome. So I love how you're navigating and how you're basically exercising leadership,
My
because you're
facial expressions,
yeah,
though.
but still you're still doing it well, and you're going to be in situations where it's not something political. It's going to be a project, an idea of product development of some sort, in a business that you don't agree with, or the strategy for marketing that you won't agree with, and how you're going to come to terms is going to, or how you're going to kind of like communicate, your point of view, is important to me to hear how this is developing now with topics like this one in school, and how you're dealing with it. So I think you're on the right track. And if anything that I will add,
It's kind of hard to get that opposing view in some ways because your Instagram, your Facebook, everything, the algorithm gives you what you want to see. So,
okay, and part of being in society is not always getting what you want, and not having a meltdown over not getting what you want. So I totally agree with that. Awesome. And I like what you're doing there. I like what you're doing there. Now, what about self leadership and everything else that you have going on right now? Like, you are studying, with a company, a tutor. for SAT. You're basically registered for the March and May
Yeah.
tests.
Yeah.
You are in the middle of finishing up applications for summer programs.
Yes.
So tell me, how have you navigated that, and how are you either leading the process or navigating the process of both those things that are very important to you right now? Because a lot of those are going to decide your ability to, to apply for even certain schools, for them to be within reach, or even,
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically, with the SAT and other tutorings, I've systemized it almost. So I have a standing appointment.
Okay.
They leave me homework. It's like another due date. Due dates work really well for me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I have something that needs to be done,
You're amazing at working under stress and pressure.
yes, I am. Unfortunately,
Yeah, but you know it, and
thing, but like,
yeah, at least and you basically put your, some kind of a structure around you in order to make sure that it
yeah,
gets
I
done.
need some sort of little structure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, makes sense.
People are depending on me for something even more. Like that adds more pressure, and that makes me more inclined to do.
Which is, I would say, one of the biggest qualities of a leader is that sometimes we're willing to do more for others than we're willing to do for ourselves.
100%.
Which means that we have to be um, sometimes very aware of that fact, so that we don't forget that in order to help others and serve others and lead others, we first need to take care of ourselves. Like, for example, right now you've been sick.
Oh yeah.
And what have you
Still
been
slightly sick.
exactly? So, what about in that case? What have you been prioritizing or not prioritizing in order to be able to have as a foundation of wealth, the first wealth, which is
Yeah.
health?
So the day that I was really sick, I we called in the school. I was like, okay, she's gonna skip first period. And then I just decided to skip the whole day just so I wouldn't have to skip other days in the week when I had like tests or study reviews for an upcoming test. Like those.
So so sometimes you prioritize rest then.
Yeah, I prioritize rest because sometimes those review sessions are more important than the actual test.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So by missing that one day, it gave you the ability
And
to.
it was an easy day. If I would have skipped the other days, I would have missed my harder subjects. That day didn't. I basically.
It was okay.
It's,
It didn't create any damage.
nope.
But it did tremendous things for your health and your ability to
Yes.
feel.
I was there the next day. I was present. A little bit still sick, but there.
But there, yeah. Let's see what I had here. What about, have you had to request any extensions for work and stuff like that, in order to not feel so overwhelmed by just the sheer amount of commitments and deadlines and things that are due?
I did actually ask for an extension on an English
Mhm.
assignment, but then she was so nice that she gave the whole class an extension. So
Wonderful. That's wonderful. What about your social life, Sophia? There's a party last
yeah,
weekend.
yep. I did not go to that. I went to bed early. That was nice, actually.
So basically, you up today.
You know, on Monday, I heard how fun it was, and I was like, maybe I should have gone. But I'm actually, I'm okay. I slept in. I think I slept that day from 11 to 11.
So yeah, 12 hours. That means your body definitely needed it, and you still haven't shaken it off completely. So
I still have a little sniffle, a little cough.
yeah, okay. Um, yeah, it's just that it feels like, we're only in the fourth week of January.
Getting sick though. So
Yeah.
everyone has been out. Everyone has been. I know some of my friends are still at school while sick, and they're struggling. Their grades are taking a plummet. I'm like very happy that I prioritized that day.
Yeah, to stay. Yeah,
Stay.
to stay behind. Yeah. what I started to say was that, it feels like with things that are going around, illness wise, with all the commitments you have going, with all the changes that have happened in the country, and just the collective sentiment. It's the beginning of a new year, and even though we're just at the beginning of the fourth week in January, it almost feels like an entire year has passed. And so I want us to look ahead and make sure that we have enough gas, because we still have 11 more months of 2025 of amazing things that we want to accomplish. And so I just want to
get into a good college.
I know, but
December.
but I just want you to remember that it's important to not forget about finding joy in the things that you're doing on a daily basis. Just in general, joy about the whole process. You're only going to be 17 once. And so sometimes, we can be of incredible service by first remembering that sometimes service is your being, your health. Sometimes it is your presence. Sometimes service, when we're leaders, is your groundedness. And sometimes, in order to have all those three things and be and be a person that feels grounded, that feels solid, that feels still and at peace, we need to, like you did, this weekend, sit out and take time for ourselves.
I needed this study.
And you needed to study. Yeah. So all in all, Sophia, I just want to wrap right now by saying, and maybe bringing this full circle, that leadership is about more than just inspiration. Inspiration is, I feel like, putting things on a vision board and being inspired by them. But leadership is much more about influence. And because the people that are actually influential are the people that actually live what's on the vision board. And influence actually starts with, can I influence myself? Can I influence myself to, for example, sometimes exercise kindness, empathy in a difficult conversation? Or can I, bring forward my opinion in a kind and respectful way, such that there is an opening for the other party to hear my viewpoint, to actually hear me out, versus block me entirely. Being influential is also about taking care of yourself, of putting certain, I would say, I don't want to say boundaries, but creating a little bit of distance sometimes from topics and craziness that is happening in the world. Like you said right now, you said to me, I didn't have a direct impact on it because I wasn't actually voting. So for me, I do have an opinion. I have, there's some beliefs that I do have, but I'm still creating a little bit of distance. And this is important, I think, for a leader to sometimes bring and put a little bit of distance in order to be able to kind of like assess and really understand what is kind of like the emotion and or of the collective, and what is what I believe and what I stand for, and you need to have that in order to bring that presence then and be actually influential to others. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that, full circles, because I know you said at the beginning that you thought a leader is someone that, is influential. And I think, you're on the right track. And if you need help in anything, I'm here for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anything else that you wanted to add to this, or that could help maybe another teenager right now navigate, any of the things that you're going through right now?
I mean, what works for me is setting those boundaries and being okay, just like holding my mouth on certain, like, it's okay. You don't have to speak up for everything. I feel like that's a very big misconception, where it's like you're taught to just speak up. I feel like when you speak up when you believe it counts.
Yeah. When you can be most effective.
When you can be most effective.
Yeah,
Exactly.
makes complete sense. Well, with that, that I couldn't put it even better than that being an example of amazing leadership. So thank you for sharing that. I'm sure that's going to be helpful for others as well. Thank you for listening and tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, give us a
5-star review
and share the podcast. Until the next one, thank you so much.